Hello, welcome back. Today, I want to talk about my personal experience of being a late diagnosed autistic ADHD woman. I was curious what age is considered late for diagnosis when it comes to autism. And actually, according to the University of Virginia, the age of 12, if you're diagnosed anytime after the age of 12, you are considered a late diagnosed person. Also, according to the University of Virginia, it's been found that people who are diagnosed later in life are 3 times as likely compared to those diagnosed in childhood to report psychiatric conditions. What is it like? So, when I first discovered that I was autistic, it was kind of like a box I couldn't put the lid on. And when I compared myself to my peers, which I know we're not supposed to do that, but we are human beings. Of course, we're going to compare ourselves to other people. And when I compare myself to other people, I notice that it just something was off. It also felt like every single person that I ever met, they all had the same kind of feeling about me after they had talked to me for a little while. And that was that something was innately different, odd, wrong with me. I'm not great at friendship. I have not a great history of being great at friendship, and it feels really shameful. And so it's hard to talk about. And it's also hard to explain to people. To my well intentioned therapist, I talk about social issues, and, I'm not confident that she fully understands what I mean by, like, I don't know how to join this conversation, or I just don't have anything that I can even contribute. Like, I literally cannot think of a thought that could come out of my mouth in that moment. And I'm not even sure that my mouth works sometimes in these moments. It's like a lot of pressure to figure out what to say, how to say it, when to say it. All of these things are so tricky to figure out. And so I've just learned to be very quiet. Again, this is just my experience as someone who was also diagnosed with cPTSD. It's difficult sometimes to untangle which social thing is something like rejection sensitive dysphoria or autism, or because I don't fully trust people's intentions. My entire life, I thought I was dealing with some sort of deep set depression, perhaps anxiety. And the more that I started to look back at my past and start to recognize patterns of my own behaviors, I internalize everything, so that doesn't really look like a lot to the outside world. But to me on the inside, that looks kind of scary sometimes. So, this is me saying, like, even if I don't think my therapist fully gets it, talking to her has drastically improved my experience, especially having figured out that I am autistic, ADHD, and have a lifelong set of experiences that make like day-to-day functioning more difficult than it could be. I don't know what that looks like for me, because that's the thing. It's always been like this. So, realizing that I was autistic, ADHD, was also really sad because I had thought that perhaps if I had a chance to like just work on things or put in more effort somehow, although I was already trying as hard as possible, as hard as I could possibly work, working full time as a new mom and trying to be a good wife, not having the energy to have friendships because of all of that, and realizing that that's my reality. I am not going to have more energy for social interactions. So it's not a magic key, but it explains everything that I was confused about because it didn't fit with depression and anxiety. As a teenager, I was diagnosed with dysthymia, which is now called pervasive depressive disorder. So even though everything finally made sense and I felt so relieved and completely amazed that I had finally discovered the reasons why, I realized I had a lot of work to do. It felt very scary to see the amount of things that I had missed in my own life that could have been helpful a long time ago. There's a genetic factor at play with these things. We can't diagnose anybody, but it's important to notice trends in our family and maybe start to understand these trends a little bit deeper. I have not had more understanding for my parents than after realizing that I was autistic ADHD and wondering, well, I wonder, well, I wonder. It was a lot to deal with, and I was very lucky to have support. So if you're going through a recent diagnosis, take a deep breath. If you're open to journaling, do some journaling. If you're open to talking to anybody in your life, try to talk with them or sit with them, whatever makes you more comfortable. Well, people have to talk. So thanks for sitting with me with that one. I have so much more I could go into on this topic, and we don't have time for that here. So anyway, I will leave you with that, and I hope you have a wonderful afternoon, evening, night, morning, wherever you are in the world. Bye.